What if everything you know is wrong?
So, if you've ever felt totally drained, cynical, and just ineffective at your job, you are definitely not alone. Burnout has gone way beyond a simple buzzword. It's a full blown crisis, something the World Health Organization now officially recognizes as a health syndrome. But here's the real kicker: the way we talk about it and the way we try to fix it is almost completely wrong. Let's just start with a number that should honestly stop us all in our tracks. A massive 66% of US workers now say they feel burned out. That is the highest level ever recorded. This isn't just a bunch of people having a bad day anymore. It's a public health epidemic. So here's our game plan. We're going to break down what burnout actually is, and then we're going to shift the blame from you to the system where it belongs. We'll dig into why it's hitting younger generations so hard, expose why all those wellness programs don't work, and finally, look at real solutions that, believe it or not, actually make a ton of business sense. Okay, first things first, let's get on the same page about what we're even talking about. Burnout isn't just having a stressful week. It's a very specific syndrome. And if we want to solve it, we have to understand what it's made of. So these three dimensions, which psychologist Christina Maslach really defined for us, they're not separate problems. They actually feed each other in this awful, vicious cycle. It all starts with that emotional exhaustion, right? That feeling of just being completely empty. So to cope, cynicism kicks in. You start to detach from your job, from your coworkers. But that detachment, well, that leads to feeling totally ineffective, like nothing you do matters. And of course, that feeling just makes the exhaustion even worse. And this brings us to what is probably the single most important point we're going to make. For decades, the whole story around burnout has been about, your personal resilience. But the evidence now is just overwhelming. Burnout is not a personal failure. It is an organizational failure. I want you to really let that sink in for a second. For anyone who's ever been told to just be more resilient or do more self-care or manage your time better, what if the problem was never your ability to cope, but the impossible thing you were being asked to cope with? And look, this isn't just a nice idea. This is the scientific consensus. The research is crystal clear. Study after study across thousands of workplaces all point to the same thing. The real drivers of burnout are systemic. We're talking about work culture, workload, management, not some lack of grit from employees. So what are these systemic roots? Well, they're things you've probably felt. It's that relentless, excessive workload that never lets up. It's having no control or autonomy over your own work. It's dealing with poor or even toxic leadership. It's feeling completely invisible and unappreciated. It's when your personal values just don't line up with the company's. And it's that constant nagging stress of job insecurity. Every single one of these is a crack in the foundation of a healthy workplace. Now, this systemic failure, it isn't hitting everyone equally. When you actually look at the data, a really stark generational picture emerges. Researchers are even calling it a crisis of hope, especially for the youngest people in the workforce. I mean, just look at this. A jaw-dropping 83% of Gen Z workers report feeling burned out. For millennials, it's an already sky-high 66%. This isn't just a small increase, it's a massive leap that forces us to ask one simple question: what is going on here? The why really comes down to a kind of broken promise. See, older generations, they worked hard with this basic assumption that it would lead to a secure, better life. For Gen Z, that connection between hard work and reward feels completely broken. They're facing fewer good job prospects, housing they can't afford, crushing debt, and a deep loss of trust in the institutions that are supposed to help, all while living in what feels like a constant state of global crisis. Now, companies see this happening, right? And they're spending billions of dollars on this huge wellness industry. But if burnout is a systemic disease caused by the workplace, then all these common cures like mindfulness apps and free yoga classes are basically like putting a Band-Aid on a broken leg. This is the fatal flaw right here. Wellness programs treat the symptom, not the cause. They treat the person as the problem. They offer you tools to cope with stress after your job has already created it. It's a strategy that basically accepts that the system is broken and asks you, the employee, to be the one to adapt. Let's just put them side by side. It makes it super clear. Wellness focuses on you, the individual. It's reactive, happening after you're already stressed, and it's usually owned by the HR department. Real burnout prevention focuses on the system. It's proactive. It tries to eliminate the stressors before they do harm, and it has to be owned by the company's top leadership. They are two completely different things. Okay, so if yoga and meditation apps aren't the answer, what is? Well, the good news is we actually have a really clear evidence-based roadmap. The solution is all about shifting from individual coping to fixing the organization itself. Real effective strategies tackle those root causes we talked about head on. This means actually reducing workloads. It means giving people more autonomy and control over their work. It means training managers to be better leaders who create safe teams. It means building fair and transparent systems for recognizing people's work. It means making sure the company's values are more than just a poster on a wall. And it means fostering a true sense of community. These aren't perks, they're structural fixes. And for any leaders or managers watching this, it is absolutely crucial to understand that this is not about being nice or spending money on some soft, fuzzy issue. Preventing burnout is one of the most important, profit-driving business strategies a company can have today. Let's make this real. A totally average company with just 1,000 employees loses an estimated $5 million every single year. That's from lost productivity and the massive cost of replacing people who leave. Now zoom out, and the global economic hit is just staggering. Burnout drains the world economy of $438 billion in lost productivity every year. That is a massive, measurable drag on global growth. And this right here, this is the risk that should keep executives up at night. Companies with high rates of burnout see 50% higher employee turnover. And guess who leaves first? Your best people, your top performers. They take all their knowledge and talent right out the door with them. So it all comes down to this one question. When the cost of doing nothing is so painfully clear, and the solutions not only exist, but actually generate a massive return on investment, is fixing burnout really an expense? Or is it the single greatest competitive advantage an organization can build for the future?
Understanding begins with why.